Hey, it's Rhianna. Welcome back to my channel and another episode of Tasty Tuesday. Today I'm going to be trying to make the Christmas crack or Christmas toffee or the cracker toffee or whatever you want to call it. But I want to try to make a keto version. If you were watching my vlogs about, I guess like a week and a half ago or so, I did try to make this and I used the allulose or whatever it's called sweetener. And I was saying how at first I was saying I wasn't really having any bad reactions to that, but unfortunately I did end up having some stomach issues whenever I used that alternative sweetener. And so I saw a recipe on TikTok where they make this using like the real version, not the keto version, where they use just butter and brown sugar. And so I thought that I would try it using the brown sugar Swerve instead of the allulose, because I personally don't have a bad reaction with Swerve. So definitely it's going to be something that you're going to have to play around with if you're sensitive to the fake sugars, because everyone is different. Now I will say that I understand that Swerve or erythritol isn't the best for like baking because it does crystallize. So I'm not 100% sure how this is going to turn out, but I still want to go ahead and attempt to make it. So the first thing that you're going to do is I'm going to preheat my oven to 400 degrees. And these are the ingredients that you're going to need. For the cracker, I'm using this cut to carb wrap. It is only available online. I think it's 9 net per sheet. So for this entire sheet is 9 net carbs. And I'm going to throw that on a baking sheet and toast it up just a little bit. So it's kind of like more like a cracker. You also need a cup of butter, so 2 sticks of butter, a cup of brown sugar. I'm using Swerve. And you can totally do this, the real version, using saltine crackers and regular brown sugar. You don't have to use, obviously you don't have to use the keto version. And then I have some milk chocolate lilies to put on top. Parchment paper and a baking sheet as well. And you're also gonna need a saucepan. Okay, I'm putting my hair up, wash my hands, and then we're gonna get started. If you are doing this with crackers, you don't have to toast the crackers beforehand. So I'm putting down the parchment paper. Okay, because the cut the carb will curl up on the edges, I did score the parchment paper along the end so that way it lays completely flat in the baking sheet. And then I'm going to put another baking sheet on top of it to keep it from curling, because when you're pouring like the toffee stuff on top, it has to be flat. I'm gonna stick this in the oven for just a couple of minutes, like I said, just to kind of toast it up a little bit. And while that's happening, we're gonna work on the toffee. Anytime you are making a caramel, a toffee, anything like that, you want to use a heavy bottom saucepan. It's going to be the best as far as like the heat being evenly distributed and making sure you don't have spots like where the butter is going to be burning and other places and stuff like that. All right, let's add our 2 sticks of butter. I'm going to measure out my sugar on a separate plate or whatever, because brown sugar is kind of hard to get out of the packaging. Okay, I have my 2 sticks of butter. I have my 1 cup of brown sugar. And now you're going to mix everything until the sugar is melted and the brown sugar is dissolved as well. I think I'm gonna go ahead and take cut the carb out of the oven. This is gonna take a few minutes. I'm doing it on a low heat. You don't want to scorch the butter and the sugars, because caramel can burn. It wouldn't be very good. And just be very, very careful, because once this is melted, it is going to be like napalm if you get it on your skin. At this point the butter is melted, but I can still see like pieces of the sugar, so I am trying to get those to dissolve. So it looks like the sugar is fully dissolved, so I'm gonna go ahead and pour this on top of the cut the carb wrap. Okay, I cut the edges of the parchment because it wasn't laying flat, and you want to try to spread this evenly across. All right, next you want to go ahead and place this back in the oven for just for a couple of minutes, and then you're going to add the chocolate chips. Okay, I've placed it back in the oven for about maybe 4 minutes while I clean my pot out. I can already tell it doesn't look like it's coming together right. And that's a bummer, but let's go ahead and put the chocolate chips on top, and the heat is supposed to melt them. And then once they're melted, you smooth them over. Hopefully it tastes good, it just doesn't look the best. Y'all. It doesn't look good at all. Gross. What is happening? Did I not cook the butter long enough? It looks really wet. This is gonna be a mess to clean up, I can tell you right now. Don't y'all love whenever I have fails on here? Because I still show them to y'all. Okay, I just need to let this cool now, and then we'll figure out how big of a failure it was. I like this spatula, it's pretty good. All right, let's cool this off. Okay, it's been cooling in the refrigerator now for about 30 minutes. I popped it out of the cookie sheet, and I'm gonna cut it with a pizza cutter. Okay. Okay, that's cutting pretty well. Alright. Alright, let me go ahead and just try it. I was really worried about it when I was putting it in the refrigerator, but honestly, it doesn't look too terribly bad. I mean, I might have been able to cook like the caramel or the toffee or whatever you want to call it a little bit longer. But let's see how it tastes. That's actually really good. It tastes like Christmas to me. It's really, really sweet. It's not too like crystallized as far as like how erythritol usually does. I don't know if it'll get worse while it sits in the refrigerator, but I mean, it's completely like solid. I mean, you can kind of see when you look at it closely, like it's, I don't know if I can get to focus on it. You can kind of see it's like a little weird on the top, but it doesn't seem to be affecting the flavor so much, at least not to me. But like I said, Swerve, like, I don't have issues with Swerve, and so that's the reason why I wanted to try this recipe. I'm wondering if maybe I could have, besides, okay, I definitely think I should have cooked it a little bit longer. The sugar and the butter, I feel like could have been cooked a little bit longer. I'm also wondering if maybe I could have done like a half and half. Half Swerve and half of the Alios. I will say the recipe with the Alios is definitely a lot more caramel-like. And like I said, I don't know if it's because I didn't cook this long enough or just because of the way Swerve cooks versus how that cooks. But I mean, it's good. It's a good substitute. Definitely super sweet, so I won't be eating a ton of it at a time. But I mean, it's a good holiday treat, I think. I'm honestly super surprised. When I was putting it in the refrigerator, I was expecting the worst. So it came out a lot better than I was expecting, and I'm happy about that. I'm gonna go ahead and finish cutting it up. If you have a suggestion that you would like to see for Tasty Tuesday, definitely let me know. If you end up making this recipe, let me know. Subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to click the thumbs up button, and I will see you guys next time. Bye. You better not touch it.
Oh my goodness.
You did!